This is Home. Star City News starts right now.
We begin tonight in Tippecanoe County, where 3 more residents have died of COVID-19 and 195 more have been infected. Star City's Kris Morisse reports a library has now been temporarily closed and more students are learning from home after exposure to the virus.
The Tippecanoe County Public Library's downtown branch is closed, and there's no curbside pickup there at least until Thursday because of a COVID-19 exposure. And 2 classrooms at West Lafayette Elementary School were sent home Monday because of exposure to the novel coronavirus. Superintendent Rocky Killian says the district uses precautionary quarantines to reduce the spread of COVID-19.
Sometimes it's because someone has experienced symptoms, and if they're experiencing symptoms, but we don't know exactly how close a person has been to those students or to those teachers. We err on the side of caution.
Killian says the school district is relying on medical professionals and data to make those decisions to quarantine entire classrooms. He says if there's anything positive out of the COVID-19 pandemic, it's seeing parents, physicians, and educators working together to keep kids healthy.
The nights and weekends, I have a lot of administrators and staff spending 7, 8, 9 hours tracing a student or staff or number of students to make sure that we are getting to all the parents and getting to all those classrooms that need the precautionary quarantine.
Killian says that effort is paying off in terms of low infection rates so children can stay in class.
I get a lot of positive statements from my teachers as well as from students, allowing them to be on site.
Killian says they take things day by day, and teachers and parents are adjusting to the occasional shift between in-person and remote learning. In West Lafayette, I'm Kris Morisse for Star City News.
A new study suggests COVID-19 made its way to the U.S. sooner than first thought. The virus was first identified in China in December of last year, but the first case in the U.S. was not confirmed until January 19th. However, now CDC researchers have found coronavirus antibodies in 39 blood samples from California, Oregon, and Washington collected in mid-December. Also, 67 samples from Connecticut, Iowa, Massachusetts, Michigan, Rhode Island, and Wisconsin contained antibodies before widespread outbreaks in those states. However, widespread transmission likely did not begin until late February. After Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, and Cyber Monday comes today, Giving Tuesday. It's a way for people to make a positive impact. Star City's Dave North spoke with food finders of Greater Lafayette to find out how you can get involved.
It's a National Day of Generosity. Food Finders of Greater Lafayette says a good way to participate in Giving Tuesday is to help make sure our friends and neighbors have food on their tables. Food Finders Chief Philanthropy Officer Kris says the local need is greater than ever.
The number of food insecure folks that we see and that are reported in our service area it's typically around 13%, but new reports are showing that it's going to rise as high as 18% of the people across our 16-county service area experiencing hunger due to the pandemic.
Giving Tuesday was created to promote charitable acts of giving after consumers spend billions on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Kris says even though Food Finders puts 94 cents of every dollar back into the program, it only goes so far.
First and foremost, we need donations in order to continue to operate at this level. Really, we always say we can do as much as our community supports us. We're completely community funded and supported. So to be able to offer this service to our community, we need the community's support in order to keep it operating.
Kris says other ways to help include volunteering time at the food bank or just helping spread the word. Food Finders and many other nonprofits are counting on donations not only today, but through the next few months. Search online at givingtuesday.org. In Lafayette, I'm Dave North for Star City News.
Amazon is reporting record-breaking sales over the holiday shopping season so far. The company said this year's holiday shopping season has been its largest yet. Amazon said small and medium-sized businesses that use the platform took in nearly $5 billion between Black Friday and Cyber Monday, a 60% jump from last year. An adult learning program in Lafayette is sponsoring a countywide effort to help local students make it to the National Spelling Bee Championship in Washington, D.C. Star City's Jay Burley reports.
Adult Learners, Inc. is a nonprofit organization assisting ages 18 and older that are having financial hardships, enrolling in school, and many other needs to help while trying to better their education. With that being said, education starts from the youth, so they plan to host the regional spelling bee for schools around the county.
We have been partners with Scripps Spelling Bee. We've been a sponsor of theirs for the last 5 years. Our director, Joanne Vorst, and she has been in the education community for a long time. She took it upon herself to create this board and continue on with that success.
With schools needing assistance as well through the pandemic, Adult Learners is paying $100 of each school registration fee to enter, which is usually $175 in total. Winners of the Spelling Bee will win a trip to compete at the National Spelling Bee in Washington, D.C.
Champion goes off to the Nationals, then we pay for their travel for them and one of their parents or guardians. What gets better education for adults is to start when they're children, and we want to continue that. So the Spelling Bee is March 6th, 2021. We are hoping to have it in person. However, we are prepared to do it virtually if that is not available. So if the teachers want to get their schools started in the registration process, that is till December 20th.
The Spelling Bee will be hosted at Faith Christian School in Lafayette at 10 a.m. and registration at 8. For more information regarding adult assistance or the spelling event, you can go to adultlearnersinc.org. In Tippecanoe County, I'm Jay Burley for Star City News.
Indianapolis Colts punter Rigoberto Sanchez will miss an unspecified amount of time to have a cancerous tumor removed. Sanchez made that announcement on Instagram. Colts coach Frank Reich said Sanchez found out about the cancer diagnosis last week, but the punter still wanted to play against the Tennessee Titans on Sunday. Reich said the team is, quote, very optimistic about the prognosis and about the timetable to come back. He said the process of finding a replacement for Sanchez started last week. President-elect Joe Biden introduced his new economic team today as lawmakers try to find common ground on a new relief package to help struggling businesses and the millions of Americans still out of work. Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
President-elect Joe Biden formally introducing nominees for his economic team today, who, if confirmed, face the daunting task of guiding the battered U.S. economy back on track.
The team I'm announcing today will play a critical role in shaping our plan for action starting on day one and move fast.
Biden choosing Janet Yellen for Treasury Secretary. She would be the first woman in that job, and as a former Federal Reserve chair, no stranger to economic crises. The president-elect promising to focus on American families struggling to put food on the table, with COVID cases on the rise and businesses again shutting down.
Our message to everybody struggling right now is this: help is on the way.
After months of stalemate, signs of progress over a new COVID relief bill. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi speaking with Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin for the first time in weeks, while on Capitol Hill, a bipartisan group of senators introduced a $908 billion compromise.
COVID has created a crisis, and in a crisis, the people expect Congress to act.
Meanwhile, U.S. Attorney General William Barr undercutting President Trump's efforts to reverse President-elect Biden's victory. Barr telling the Associated Press that the Justice Department has not uncovered evidence of widespread voter fraud that would change the outcome of the election.
Now to a miraculous rescue at sea. A man clinging to his boat for more than 30 hours before being saved. Coast Guard tells Carrie Sanders the man is very lucky to be alive.
This is the face of survival. 62-year-old Stuart B., dehydrated and weather-worn, but remarkably alive after a terrifying struggle at sea. 3 days after he left port 86 miles from the Florida shore, Stuart B. was found clinging to a tiny portion of his 32-foot boat. It's hard to make out, but that's an exhausted yet determined Stuart arms wrapped around the bow, the rest of the boat submerged. Incredibly, in the vast Atlantic Ocean, the crew of the cargo ship Angeles spotted him.
We just rescued one person from a capsizing boat.
Later, Stewart on the ship-to-shore radio with the Coast Guard.
I didn't see anybody. I thought it was this is it. And then I saw a container vessel in the distance, and I don't have my glasses. I couldn't see if it was coming to me or not, but I began waving and took my shirt off and waved at her periodically.
The picture I see, he's standing on the bow and he's dark. And when you're looking from the bow of a vessel like the cargo container or even from an aircraft, that all kind of like melds into the ocean, doesn't it?
Unbelievably so. I can't even put into words how shocking it is that they saw him out there on that water, 86 miles from shore.
The U.S. Coast Guard had already scrambled one plane to look for the missing boater when Stewart was rescued.
A person standing on a bowsprit is that's almost a made-for-TV moment. That is the first time I've seen anything like that in my 27 years of doing this. That is truly an extraordinary case.
Stewart did have emergency equipment on board to send out a distress signal and pinpoint his location, but it was underwater.
3 times I tried to hold my breath and swim down and get it, but I couldn't reach it.
Monday night in the cargo ship's galley, Stewart taking this photo with the sailor who rescued him. Stewart's family grateful.
The first thing he said was, "You're never going to guess what happened to me." I'm in disbelief. I can't believe that they found him.
Chief Meteorologist Kris Sommers has your complete forecast right after this.
You're watching WPBI NBC 16 Lafayette. Now, Star City weather.
After seeing some cloudy skies, some windy weather across much of the day for our first day of December here in Greater Lafayette, now the sky is starting to clear out. And with clearing skies, that means temperatures are going to drop pretty quickly here into the low to mid 20s as you wake up early on your Wednesday. Hello, I'm Chief Meteorologist Kris Sommers. Clear and cold overnight, then 22 as the overnight low here in Greater Lafayette. A west wind about 5 miles per hour, still producing a little bit of a wind chill. May feel more like the mid or upper teens as you get started early on your Wednesday. Here's a look at an hour-by-hour forecast. So temperatures looking better than we saw today. Highs around much of the areas for your Tuesday. We're in the mid and low 30s. We should at least make it back to the mid to upper 40s as we get to Wednesday afternoon. Normal highs about 42, so we'll actually be a couple degrees above that average high here as we head into the middle part of the work week. Look for a high about 45. Should get a little more sunshine too, partly to mostly sunny skies in the forecast, and winds not quite as gusty at west wind about 5 or maybe 10 miles per hour. But of course today was the first day of December, so we need to look back at November and see how that shaped up here across Greater Lafayette. Really for November standards, we actually were pretty nice here temperature wise with almost 20 degrees or 20 days I should say that were above our normal or average high for the date. So yeah, a lot of orange or yellow numbers on our calendar here indicating those temperatures above our normal high or average high. Again, the first day of November, we have an average high here in Greater Lafayette at 59, but by the last day of the month, we're at an average high of 44. So we had temperatures again in the 50s, 60s, even some 70s and 80s. I guess the warmest day was 80 back on November 8th. That was a nice Sunday a few weeks ago, but the coldest temperature was actually yesterday. 42 degrees was our high temperature for the last day of November. Again, we saw about 5 days that were below normal on those average highs and had 5 days that were actually within 2 degrees of the normal for that date. Precipitation wise, we were about 3/10 of an inch of rain short or precipitation short of our normal high, our normal precipitation for the month of November as well. But it looks like dry weather and pretty much calm weather will stay with us here as we head through the next several days. So for your Wednesday, again, dry, chilly temperatures. Temperatures at least at average, maybe a couple degrees above average, but still kind of chilly for this time of year. Partly to mostly sunny skies expected. Behind me there, you can see that system, though, some showers just kind of coming on to our map down in southwest Missouri. That will never really make it to our area. That's going to stay to our south. May throw some clouds our way as we head to Thursday and Friday, but it looks like dry weather and temperatures really about what you see here will be what we get over the next several days. So for tonight, clear and cold out there, mid-20s or low 20s as you wake up early on your Wednesday. 7-day forecast, 45 on Wednesday, 46 by Thursday. Again, mid-40s even for Friday and Saturday. maybe a few degrees cooler Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of next week. But again, not seeing a lot of precipitation chances heading our way. Overnight lows, yeah, on the colder side in the upper 20s or low 30s here as we head through the next 7 days. All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.
This holiday season, you have a chance to make a difference in your community. Star City Broadcasting wants to remind you that when you shop local, you support local jobs, local roads, local police, and so much more. Our small businesses create jobs, pay taxes, and support local nonprofit organizations. That's why Star City Broadcasting encourages you to shop local. This holiday season, support a small business in your community and show your support for shopping local. WPBI-NBC 16.
The pandemic has taken a toll on many things in our lives, and the American Red Cross says it's impacted blood supplies. As the holidays approach, the organization says there is now a critical need. Mandy Gaither has more information on how you can help in today's Health Minute.
We are very concerned.
The holidays are always hard on blood donations, but now even more.
Yes, people need to take care of themselves, be safe, be socially distant from one another, but giving blood is an essential activity, and we need people to respond now.
Paul Sullivan with the American Red Cross says blood supplies are low, with more than 100,000 blood drives canceled since the pandemic started. While some have been replaced, it's been challenging.
Where we would normally collect blood in terms of schools, places of worship, community centers, some of those locations are not currently operating or obviously not bringing together the same numbers of people.
Coronavirus convalescent plasma is also now being collected by the Red Cross. That's the antibodies from someone recovering from COVID-19 that can be used to help someone else who's battling it.
The blood program has only become more important at a time where it's more challenging to get people to come out.
A family in Michigan is mourning the death of not one, but two people from the coronavirus. The couple was married for 47 years and they died on the same day, just 1 minute apart. Priya Mann has their story.
It's beautiful, but it's just so tragic. Kind of like Romeo and Juliet.
And like the star-crossed lovers, Leslie and Patricia McWalters died a minute apart.
One wouldn't have wanted to be without the other.
The couple was married for more than 47 years, inseparable since the day they met. The great-grandparents passed away in the hospital from COVID-19.
But I can tell you this, that when they passed, we really do think, that Mom, the boss, she definitely went to his room and took him by the hand and said, "Come on, LD, let's go."
Patricia was a no-nonsense surgical nurse. LD was a fun-loving truck driver. And somehow their personalities were a perfect fit.
Overall, I think that it was just give and take. They picked their battles.
But the coronavirus was a battle this elderly couple from Jackson couldn't beat.
It's tough enough to lose one parent, but this was the worst.
And like the thousands of Michiganders who've lost loved ones to the virus, Joanna says it's agonizing to hear others brush off the risk.
People were talking about it and not knowing that my parents were in the hospital, both fighting for their lives with it. And I just had tears streaming down my cheeks listening to them. Our entire family is just completely devastated.
This is the happy story you need today. A dog missing for a year is finally reunited with her owner. Leah Hope has that story.
We're set to snip you out. See, there you go.
This reunion was 11 months in the making. The dog named Gracie quickly gets the scent of her owner.
She got close, she smelled me, and that tail just went wagging, and she just lost it, and I lost it.
Before that joyous reunion was heartbreak. In December of last year, a visitor left a door open and Gracie darted out.
I just cried for months.
Over the summer, some Jackson Park Highlands neighbors noticed a beautiful black dog with white feet. What they didn't know is that Gracie had escaped less than 2 miles away. She was too afraid to get near people and avoided other dogs. But a determined neighbor, Polly Ellison, a pet owner herself, started feeding Gracie and spent months trying to gain her trust.
She was in obvious fear, potential harm. I just couldn't turn my back on her.
With the help of Katie Campbell, who rescues stray dogs in her spare time, they kept the routine and captured the dog. Campbell detected a microchip and tracked down her owner the same day.
I just started crying all over again.
People just need to realize the ability of a dog to survive and just never give up on them.
Oh, well, tears of joy. She actually had an owner and a loving home to go home to and a sibling dog. It's been overwhelming.
In the world that we live in, and we hear all these bad things, that there are actually kind-hearted, generous people who are willing to go above and beyond.
Kelly Shade had Gracie since she was 2 months old. She and those involved in Gracie's safe return urged pet owners to microchip their pet, keep information updated, and post on Lost Dog Illinois if a dog is lost or found.
Definitely a holiday miracle. To end it this way is definitely remarkable.
While the 6-year-old pit bull has not left Shade's side since she was returned, Amazing Gracie was not injured. The savvy, lucky dog survived on Chicago streets through winter, spring, summer, and fall, but is home for Christmas.
A Colorado family says the difficulties of this year made it hard for them to get in the holiday spirit enough to decorate their home. So their neighbors decided to share their holiday cheer with the family. Megan Hiler has that story.
After a hard year for the Thomas family, there wasn't much Christmas spirit to go around.
To be honest, before all this happened, I had absolutely no Christmas spirit. I told my kids, the King of Christmas is dead this year. I just don't have the energy. I don't have it. My wife might die. How could I be excited for Christmas? So this turned everything around for me. It's like a miracle almost.
Tom's wife, Andy, was diagnosed with breast cancer earlier this year. Doctors told her she had 6 months to live, but now she's almost to 10. Tom says dealing with the stress of that and being a disabled vet started to wear. So he posted on the Nextdoor app about how they would not be doing lights this year. That's when volunteers got involved.
And being that we can actually get out here and help somebody that's totally, out in the community, I think it's huge. And I think it sets a standard for everybody and every person in this community to do the same thing.
About a dozen people showed up to help put up those decorations. As the Thomas family looked on, they couldn't help but get in the holiday spirit.
It just excites me. It just excites me to see people that there's good humanity in this world, and we have people here in my neighborhood that prove it.
A small gesture that made a big impact and certainly brightened a gloomy year.
Being, a military guy, I'm used to being a tough guy and don't shed a tear. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. There are a lot of emotions that are probably inside that are going to come out later on, just overwhelming.
Breakfast with Boomer, weekday morning 6 to 10 a.m. on Z96.5, WAZY.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. An Asian elephant who has spent much of his life alone in captivity arrived at a sanctuary in Cambodia on Monday. The journey to his new home is thanks in part to the efforts of pop star Cher. 36-year-old Kayvon spent years in grim conditions in a controversial Islamabad zoo where he suffered from a lack of exercise. Now Kayvon's days of loneliness are over. He arrived safely in Cambodia to a big welcoming committee, even a blessing from a few local monks. His new home, a sanctuary with a huge jungle enclosure. Love hearing that. From our whole team, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you for watching Star City News. Follow us on Facebook and listen to us on the radio.